Alright guys, welcome back. So a follow up to the last video. We can see on the BTC monthly VWAP chart here, we did indeed have that puke. After accepting back inside the value area, we came down and swept those equal lows into the monthly developing VWAP. So it was a good sweep. We had a good sort of consolidation cluster there before pushing up. This was a trigger to take along. I took profit on this, some around the, let's see, 123.1 level. And then the rest last night, if you follow my Twitter, which you should, I indicated this would probably provide some resistance up here. It was basically this, nice structural sort of pivot level, SR level up here, basic rotation from the VWAP up into the value area high before selling back off again, and now we're back at that level. So a bit of a tricky spot here, not really what we wanted to see from a momentum perspective. Sure enough, with VWAP, it was a very nice rotation. That trade from the equal lows up into the value area high, roughly 2.5% on perps, which is, a decent move. But I just think, right now we're just chopping. So, it's indicated by the 4-hour divergences we were talking about in the prior video, with BTC pressuring into the highs, also lined up with USDT Dominance, which we'll discuss in a bit. But, we can see that level as well. It was basically squeezing between the 7-day rolling VWAP and also accepting back inside previous week's value, which is indicated by this band over here. So you can see, previous week's value area high was also quite respected. Didn't actually really retest it. We trended healthily above it, and sort of now we're trading back inside that. So we got back into the developing weekly value area, basically came up, sort of clipped the VWAP, came back inside, rejected off it, and now we're back under again. So a bit of a tricky spot. We basically just want to really accept back outside of this previous week's value. We want to get back up into the weekly value. But I think just, that's a lower time frame look at things. I think basically the monthly is just painting a pretty good picture right now. So we did indeed get that pullback. We did indeed get the bounce, but the rejection so far is not as good. Now, before I continue, as always, please like and subscribe to the video, turn the notification bell on, and also if you're interested in joining the Mars High Club, you can find the link in the description for that. That's where I shared that BTC entry and TP yesterday. Other than that, I'm sort of sitting on my hands right now because I just think price action looks a bit dicey. So if we go to the hourly chart, we can also see that reflected without the VWAP here. This was those equal lows, swept that, got back inside. We actually printed a nice 30-minute RSI divergence into that, which is a sort of good credence. And once we got back above the level, that was a trigger to enter. But as we can see, we're just front running the previous all-time high over here as well, indicated by the dashed line. So kind of where does that leave us for if we sell off from here? What I discussed last time, we're still just looking for this box down here. If we go to the weekly chart, we can see that red line is basically where we broke out above the weekly level. And now we're just looking for a pullback. And once again, we're going to over in a sec the SFP forming here and why, potentially we could be in for a bigger move down. So as stated again, this consolidation cluster over here, very important. We can actually extend that across, see how good it was as a pivot level. We came up, rejected off it once, came up, rejected off it twice, finally broke through it. So maybe get that nice over-under retest indicated by this high volume node over here, which is where we're looking for sort of the lower entry. So the first entry is 121.4. That played out. We got a nice little scalp on that. But otherwise, I think the bigger position to take is going to be down here around 120 to 118 based on this high volume node here. So actually go back to VWAP, you can also see the confluence of that area. We actually have the August value area high. If I just scroll this back, I can see that indicated over here, lining up with the 118.6 area and also the developing monthly value area low down here. So I think there's a nice pocket of confluence down there that lines up with that high volume node box I'm talking about. And yeah, I think if we actually start to lose that, so this is kind of my last port of call for a long for now. We want to get in here, we want to form some sort of bottom, we want to start pushing up into fresh highs. If we don't do that, I think we effectively come back down here, roll over, we just enter back into that ranging period. And this just continues to be a bigger range, and that breakout was just effectively a fake out. So if that does happen, someone actually heckled me on the channel the other day for this, but you never know, this might still play out. I was very bullish on this level getting swept down here. We actually front ran it, pushed up in the new highs. If we actually go across here, we now have like relative equal lows down here. So if we do enter back into this ranging period, I can actually just get rid of all this for a sec. We can actually just draw this out as a range, the range high to the range low. We can see that this may just be a deviation here. There's nothing to say it won't. There's nothing to say we can't rotate down to the EQ, which is a roughly 115K. Now this is the premium area. This is the discount below it. So we really want to put in the absolute bottom around 115K and push up from there. I still think 118 to 120 is where I want to look for a position, but there is still confluence down here around 115. I do think the 115 is more a line in the sand that if we lose it, we're probably going to rotate down and maybe take out the range lows before pushing up, or maybe we just look for a reaction we get down there if there's potentially even bleed lower. So I'm not being a bear here, I'm just sort of being neutral. That's always what my channel's about. I'm never saying this is going to get run down here, this is going to all-time high. I'm always just basically on the side of if this, then that. That's always my scenarios. I always have two scenarios for every trade, up and down. and sort of I only play on that when I get a trigger for either. So as we stand right now, this is just a weekly SFP. So I can actually go to this chart right here. We can see what these weekly SFPs have done in the past. So these red lines here, you can see once we had the sweep on a weekly and formed this SFP, we generally had a sell-off for a period after. So I actually mark out like this SFP up here down to the low after sweeping. That was a 22% move down before bottoming and pushing up into fresh highs. This SFP right here, fairly big wick, but from the bottom to the from the top to the bottom, another 21%. This one's a bit different here. This is the Trump inauguration, obviously where Trump got into office. But you can see, we didn't really form an SFP. We had all these equal highs and we just ran them straight through because this had a narrative, as I said. This had some fuel to push up. Same thing here again. We formed an SFP on this. We went down 17 or 18% before pushing up. We did another SFP of that high. We came down as far as 32%. That was quite an aggressive sell-off. This one right here to here, 9.3%. This one here to here, 14%. And now we are currently at this one right here. So can it potentially sweep and go down? Yes, of course. The move had so much exuberance, so much like strength and like pace up into that level. We can't expect that to just sustain in a straight line up. And what I was telling you guys last time was these 4-hour divergences we had to pay attention to. So you can actually see we had these divergences across Awesome Oscillator down here and also RSI. Now we are resetting down on the 4-hour RSI, so this is good. You can actually see right now, effectively this is a range high deviation. We just gave it a bearish retest and now we're back inside the range. So I'm not playing trending stuff right now. I'm just simply treating this as a range. Once again, 120 to 118K, looking for that. If we start trending down, we really need a bounce at 115. If we start accepting under 115, I think the range lows around 108, 107 are back on the cards. Now, if we look at USDT Dominance, anyone who watched the last video saw me saying that the BTC H4 divergences printing up at the all-time high lined up with bullish divergences printing across the USDT Dominance chart across the support level down here. So if I go to this on the daily, you can see quite a prominent support level. So we did indeed get that bounce. This is effectively just, you can treat it like a pair chart. So if this is going up, obviously risk assets are going down. So we saw that bounce, quite nice. We actually saw a bit of a sell-off and then we're seeing, a bit of strength again. So just something to be mindful of. USDT Dominance is just an easy thing to play on. Obviously, if it's going up, money's flowing back into stables. If it's going down, money's flowing into risk assets. It's really that simple. But divergences do work very well on these charts. BTC Dominance, ETH Dominance, any dominance chart. So once again, to the others chart, I talk about this on every show, but this is the total market cap based on any coin outside of the top 10. And we can see there's not much point in taking swing longs on stuff right now. Obviously, we're just looking for that coil. We're looking for that compression. We're looking for that to break up. But in terms of swing longing alts right now, I just don't think the opportunity is really there. Effectively, I've only been day trading stuff. I'm not really picking up spot. I've got a few nibbles and spot bags here and there just based on high time frame structure. But that's just to get a base entry. I don't think we really have the rallies we want to see until we get above this 326 billion level. And until then, that kind of needs to happen in line with a fresh high on BTC breakout. Also, we need to see ETH breakout because generally ETH leads to other alts rallying. So actually go to the ETH chart. This has also come into that level I was discussing. So this was the daily breaker, the daily demand level. We did come directly down into that, into the range EQ. We did put in a nice bounce, but now we're just sort of trending back into the range EQ. So the next level we were looking for, if you watched the last video, was this other high volume node down here around 4,300. So basically the premise is it needs to bounce here, push back up into the range highs. We've actually drawn out some very nice equal highs now. We've left behind some nice equal highs. So it's a nice liquidity target to run if we get up there around the range high, around, previous all-time high. But if that doesn't happen in the meantime, I think we actually pull back to around this high volume node around 4,300. There's even potential we go a bit deeper and tag back into this daily order block down here. So yeah, decent bounce, but it just wasn't much to write home about. We can actually look at this on the VWAP chart as well. So we can see on the monthly, not as strong as BTC. It was trending up the value area high. It lost it backside. Now it's trending under the VWAP. Now we tried to break above it last night. We deviated above VWAP. And now we're trending down towards the value area low. We can also see around last month's value area high, we came up, we tried to push above, and we couldn't do it. So we basically rejected off that, and we're accepting back inside previous month's value. If I go to the weekly, it's kind of a similar story. We had that bounce. We had a nice 30-minute divergence print down here, but we bounced up. We were accepting back inside previous week's value. We tried to break above it last night. We couldn't quite do it. We even front run the VWAP. We're accepting back under 7-day rolling VWAP. So ETH just doesn't look nearly as attractive as BTC right now, but also just don't think BTC looks that attractive based on the move. It's just how to sold off. But this does continue trending down here. I don't think you want to be like swing long on alts right now just for that reason. Intraday market still, like take the opportunities you can find. I've only been sort of trading stuff that has been printing nice structure and maybe stuff with narrative. Discussing narrative here, like, things, obviously the BNB ecosystem, the BSC ecosystem is heating up a lot. Things like Cake are looking decent. Like I just posted this in the Miles High Club earlier today. You can see we came down. I was saying, look for this 4-hour demand to get tagged. On that puke we just had in the last hour, it's quite a nice bounce so far. We've put in off that demand level already, like a 5% move. Other than that, I was looking at ZEC just because it's been hot recently. I'm looking for it to come down to this pivot level around 156, but hasn't got there yet. And BNB, obviously very nice coin, has barely had any like real pullbacks to get into, but I think this 4-hour demand down here around 1240 looks quite decent. Although while I've been on the stream, we have actually swept this low over here. So you can see if we just go down to a lower time frame, this is just a simple range forming here. Basically just want to see a break above the range high. I was actually treating this as a diagonal earlier. I thought this could be potentially a nice breakout if it did that, but obviously just sent to the other side based on that puke we just had. So maybe we deviate this range low here and trend back up. We're still just in a range on the hourly, on the 4-hour. So I think any sort of sweep down to that 1240 level looks pretty good on BNB. But other than that, not really looking at alts right now. I just think you need to pay attention to what's happening on the bigger picture, looking at BTC and Ethereum, and basically just watch the last video if you want those key levels in depth. But we've pretty much just marked those out today using a combination of just candlestick chart with VWAP, which is very handy. So pretty much just a quick update, going to leave it there. I'll be back with you guys in a few days. We are coming into the weekend, so we're going to expect some volatility, or maybe we can just expect the standard crab sideways where everyone gets chopped to bits on low time frames. I think you basically just want to be on high time frames, looking for swing opportunities at big levels, and other than that, you want to be on lower time frames, just taking intraday plays based on narratives, based on news, based on whatever sector is hot right now. Please like and subscribe if you want to join the Miles High Club. It's a great time to. Link in the description. And other than that, I'll catch you in a few days. Cheers.